It's been a very exciting first 6 months. It's been a very active phase for the company because the channel is still in its early stages at this point of time, and we've gone about trying to create an identity for ourselves to try and differentiate our channel from competition, identify the niches and the areas that we want to operate in, and also figure out how exactly we're going to get long-term growth in this business. So from that perspective, it's been a very interesting journey so far, and looking forward to it. Well, different organization, different company, and different type of challenges because in 2006 the markets were still not as competitive. It was a very, very different landscape at that point of time. This is now a very different market space. Right now, we've got very strong competition at this point of time, each of whom are extremely aggressive, and it's also part of a largest network, Sony being one of the largest larger broadcasting players in this country. So it's a very different scenario in that sense, and different challenges, of course. Very, very significant changes actually. If you really see how things have progressed in the last few years. Back when I first entered this industry, IPL did not exist, leagues did not exist, test match and one day cricket were still the dominant forms. T20 international cricket did not exist. Cable digitization was not even was a long way away. DTH was in very, very early stages. So if you really look at it, the last 8 years have been a dramatic transformation both in the media landscape in terms of distribution, DTH, cable digitization sectors, regulatory changes, and in the whole sports landscape itself in terms of the dominant format of sport itself, where T20 has emerged as such a key factor. Sports leagues have emerged not only in cricket but in other sports. So yeah, it's been a very, very significant transition that has happened in the landscape in these years. We're still effectively in the first year of our operations. I mean, we're an 18-month-old channel, but still trying to get our footing in the market. So it's too early to talk about additional channels, etc. But as far as differentiation and the plans itself go, we're trying to carve out an identity. We have been focused on a few sports which we believe have great potential in the country but are underserviced. Take for instance basketball. It's one of those sports where probably infrastructure availability is one of the highest in the country. Many schools have it. Participation at the ground level is very high, and yet it has not been tapped to its full potential in the country. So we are focused in a big way along with NBA in India to try and grow that sport in the country, and we are seeing some excellent traction already. If you look at the absolute number of people who have sampled basketball in the current season compared to last season, we're talking of growth of nearly 7-8 times. So that's a very significant aspect. Another focus area for us has been fight sports. Again, other broadcasters have shied away from it. We have traditionally had a culture of fight sports. Whether you look at boxing or wrestling, etc., those have been the sports on which our country has achieved significant results and rewards in Olympics and Asian Games and like. Yet on the television side, it was absent. What we have done is focused on fight sports as a category, created a daily programming block called Action Ka Blockbuster, and providing a combination of sports from wrestling entertainment to boxing to mixed martial arts to kickboxing, etc. So that if you have an interest in any of these aspects, then this is your destination. So key differentiators vis-a-vis our competition, focusing on different segments. In addition to that, of course, we have some of the largest properties in the country. I mean, IPL, of course, being the biggest in its genre. We've also got FIFA Football World Cup and Euro 2016, etc. So that again gives us a unique positioning. And the Australian Open, one of the 4 Grand Slams, the first Grand Slam of the year. So what we have done is assembled together a combination of very high profile marquee properties and some sports which we see a lot of development potential in, and try to create a mark for ourselves. So our positioning, of course, besides IPL is that we are the home of international football. So anytime you see any major footballer, be it Wayne Rooney or Fabregas or Neymar, he will be on 6 whenever they turn up in the national uniform. So club football is not something we are focused on in a big way, but international big events is something we have done that. Basketball, like I said, is another focus area, fight sports. So broadly, this is the core around which we are building our business. Well, it is an intensely competitive market, but everyone's got their own plans and identity. So, like I said, the segments that we are operating in, we have focused in on it. India is a big enough market to be able to accommodate multiple players. So it's not that we have to be in direct taking everybody head on for each and every bit of profit. So they've got their own identity. Ten Sports, for instance, is focused quite extensively on cricket, international cricket from other countries. Star has got its own dominant position in various sectors. We're just working on creating an identity for ourselves in this space. We look at it on a case-by-case basis. I don't subscribe to the view that we need to go running in all directions to try and pin down each and every bit of cricket that is available in the market. Like I said, we have identified some 3 or 4 focus areas. We are positioning ourselves as the home of international football, which gives us a distinct identity. We have identified basketball and fight sports as 2 more categories. We are focusing on certain areas of Grand Slam. So we believe this market is now mature enough to be able to go into additional genres and grow in that sense. So I don't want to get into the cricket space just for the sake of getting into it. So we want to go in with a clear, cohesive strategy. We'll look at it on a case-by-case basis where we see opportunities. But I don't think we'll be just running after the cricket. Sports viewership numbers tend to fluctuate a lot depending on what is the event that is being telecast. What we are noticing is that our profile is definitely younger than competition is our view. We believe that the numbers are supporting that because of the nature of sports that we have identified and picked. We are part of the One Alliance bouquet and we are a part of Sony, so distribution is never an aspect. The channel is pretty much available everywhere in the country, whoever needs it. So absolutely no problem on that front. Exact numbers will always fluctuate because when you talk of an IPL on the channel, your numbers will be in excess of 200 million viewers. But when you talk of something like basketball, it is only a few million viewers. It's still a very significant number from any other market's perspective, but in absolute terms, of course, viewership numbers tend to fluctuate based on the event that is being telecast. The share of advertising pie varies a lot depending on the number of big events in a particular year. So if you look at a year in which a FIFA Football World Cup is there or a Cricket World Cup is there, of course the amount of money that goes into sports at that point of time is quite significant. We definitely are a major player in the sports market on account of IPL. But in absolute non-IPL related areas, of course, we are still in the early stages. We're still to get to our first big event actually, which is going to be FIFA. So you have to give us time to be able to get that bit, because while we've made a significant string of announcements, the fact that gets often missed is that we've still not got to our first event even, leave alone the whole catalog that we are talking about. Pretty much all the top brands are always there on sport, but sports tends to get a bit more skewed towards male-centric products, apart from the usual FMCGs that we're talking about. Sectors like banking and financial services, telecom, of course, is always there. Two-wheelers, four-wheelers, insurance, those kind of categories are quite active in sport, more than they are in the GEC space. And similarly, GECs are very, very extensively run by FMCG, not to the same extent by sport. So there are some subtle differences between the profile of advertisers, but then the big brand names will be there in all categories. It's just a question of where they orient a higher portion of their spends. See, the rights that you're talking about is not live. It's not been live streaming, and it is something which has anyway been there with India Times for the last 3 years. YouTube was doing the telecast in the last 2-3 years along with India Times. So the product itself is not new. Instead of YouTube, Star Sports has decided to partner with India Times. I don't see a major fundamental shift at the ground level. I think it's making more news from all your perspective because it is Star Sports which has come into the category. But then YouTube is equally formidable. In fact, probably a bigger threat in terms of its reach and ability and number of subscribers it could deliver. So our focus is broadcast. Our focus is television broadcast on IPL, and that's what we've been doing, and I believe we've been doing a very good job of that. So from our consumers' perspective, they will still come in towards Sony Max and 6 telecasts, and we don't see a problem in that sense. See, the future is clearly quite bright because we've focused on, like I said, we've taken a clear focus areas. We are going in a particular direction to a plan. We're trying to carve out an identity, and we have a fairly strong youthful base of viewership coming onto the channel because of the nature of product that we have acquired so far. So yes, it's going to be an execution, focus on execution now. That's the, and monetization adequately. I don't see anything which is going to be unusual in that area. It's going to be as per plans. That's it.